All right, I got a question coming in from the community and it is coming in hot. Question is, can you use a wireless microphone setup when it comes to your podcasting needs? So can you do an audio podcast? Can you actually do a video podcast with this setup? The quick answer, yep. Now, if you want to stick around for the workflow and actually the editing process, I will bring you through those steps. So let's just get into it. What is going on, you beautiful humans? Welcome back to the channel. And yes, today I do want to follow up on a review that I did on the Comica wireless microphone system here and let you know that yes, it is possible that you can do a podcast with this system. And even better, if you're one that wants to actually do a video podcast and you actually have a couple of you in the same room and you want to grab that clean audio along with the video, it is definitely possible. Now, as a reminder, the particular system that I reviewed does have the two transmitters, so the two microphones, and these can actually clip to your shirt, your collar, and it has this microphone here, or you also have the option to plug in a lav mic. So whether you have a lav mic laying around, but this system actually comes with a lav mic. Now, as far as the technical aspects here, and we won't get too technical because I know a lot of you are beginners, but considering, right now, I'm actually talking to you on my shotgun mic that is just out of the frame, just out of the shot, and it's going to sound fuller for sure. I mean, it's definitely a higher end microphone versus this wireless mic setup and of course a lavalier mic. And in the video that I did in the review that I've linked up, you'll hear my voice as it is pretty much my voice. The only thing that I did do in post-production was just remove some of the room noise and signal out of that feed, but that's how my voice comes through. So if you compare the two, my voice probably sounds a lot fuller with the shotgun mic. So if you're thinking about this being a replacement for a condenser or a dynamic microphone, like a very decent condenser or dynamic microphone, your results are definitely going to vary because again, when you're using a lav mic or this wireless mic setup, it's not a limitation of the brand itself. It's just the fact that it's going to sound a little tinnier and a little thinner basically as far as that's concerned. So you may have to modify this in your post-production. Just wanted to put that out there. Now, for the ease of use, especially for those of you who want to do a video podcast and you want to be able to actually send two signals, so two voices, two people into the one camera, this is actually possible. And we actually did a test podcast around here in the studio where we were actually talking to each other and being able to have our own separate tracks feeding in to the camera itself. Now let's actually talk about a few basics here. And again, for those who already know some of this, just be patient with the community because there are some real beginners out there and I want to address you. So the fact that this wireless mic system is capable of a mono signal and it's also capable of a stereo signal, we need to think about mono as a signal that is basically just down the middle. So one signal that is down the middle that we hear evenly in the left and right ear. So thinking about like if you are at a concert, and I actually was a drummer, and so I was always center. And so if you're at a concert and you have the guitarist over to your left and the bassist over to your right, and even if you're center and you can kind of hear the guitarist coming in this side a little bit more, although you can hear it in your right, but knowing that the bassist over here is really coming through the right and a little bit in your left. However, if you were to set that up, so let's take that concert, put it into one speaker, and you're sitting in front of it, it sounds pretty even. And here's the thing. When you are dual mono, and that's a term that I'm going to be using in my post-production when I bring you in there, is dual mono is you're setting up two of the same speakers, so two speakers, so left and right, and it still sounds like even like the bass and the guitar is still over here and the bass and the guitar is still over here, the drums are in the middle, everything sounds very even. Now for a stereo track, that is actually where you hear that you have that left and that right side. So that's what we're actually going to be setting this up. So when we actually set this up, it's going to be set up as stereo. So when I'm actually talking in this one, I'm actually going to come into the left channel. And of course, when my co-host or my guest is actually using this one, it's going to come into the right channel. So we're going to do a little finagling where we actually take that left channel and that right channel, so those separate signals, and bring it in so that it actually sounds equal in both ears. However, we need to do stereo so that we can actually split that out. So let's actually bring you into the workflow. I'll run you through it as quick as possible, and then we'll get out of this one. All right, so here we are in Garageband. I'm also going to show you Logic Pro, and then I'm also going to show you where I really think this shines, and that is in a video podcast setup. Now, if you have a Windows machine, that's okay. There are going to be some different nuances with this setup, but I just want to show you at least what it looks like in two different audio editors here. But again, for Windows editing, it'll still be the same concept, same principles here. It might just look a little different. Now in GarageBand, so you'll see I've got two of these so I've got a waveform down here and then a waveform up here, and then I'm just in this single track. Now down here, see these circles, how they're overlapping. So that is stereo, but let's actually look at the audio meters.
I know, but I'm saying, like, so I came up with, I'm doing the film stuff, but what are you doing?
See that?
The entertaining piece.
I'm talking about the entertainment, like the entertaining electronics.
So see how those are not even? So let's actually come back here. We're going to go down here and click this on to mono. So then we even it out.
But I'm saying, like, so I came up with the
audio meters,
film stuff, but what are you doing as far as the entertaining piece?
I'm talking about the entertainment, like the entertaining electronics.
Okay, so the beauty about this setup, which it would take some work, but what I can actually do if I want to is I'm going to Command T here. This is just cutting it, and then Command T. And if I want, so when I'm talking, I can separate that out into my own track. I can EQ this. I haven't EQ'd or corrected anything. Now, of course, you'll still see him up here. But what this will allow me to do is to start isolating.
I know, but I'm saying, like, so
myself.
I came up with, I'm doing the film stuff, but what are you doing as far as the entertaining piece?
I'm talking about the
and then he's up here.
Like the entertaining electronics.
And again, you will have some of that bleed in between each other, like if you're talking over each other. So again, this could be a bit of a cumbersome workflow for some of you if you want to isolate those tracks, or you can certainly edit it all in one. But this allows me to really be able to pull those out separately and edit them, EQ them as with my voice and with his voice. Logic looks a little bit different here, and where you have these waveforms going down and then these waveforms actually pushing up. So again, over here, we're in stereo. So let's look at those meters.
About the film stuff?
Well, like, it's just a thought that I came up with.
Same scenario.
I know, but I'm saying, like, so I came up with, I'm doing the film stuff, but what are you doing as far as...
So again, I could do the same thing. Come over here, turn this into mono.
So I'm talking about the film stuff?
Well, like,
this
it's
is
just
one.
a thought that I came up with.
In the same concept, Command T. And then pull this out for my own. So then he's up here.
Film stuff.
So I'm talking about the film stuff?
Well, like, it's just a thought that I came up with.
And I could just kind of repeat that as well. Of course, I'd probably have a quicker workflow here, but you kind of get the idea. So I can EQ my track separately, and then EQ his track separately. And again, you are going to have some of that bleed, some of that, like if you're talking over each other, that will occur. So again, you're going to have to listen to the whole thing once you've actually done your rough cuts and go through and edit certain things. It doesn't mean that you have to pull those little talking over pieces into, like, his track versus my track, but it just may take some finessing with the EQ, but you get the concept. Now let's actually move over to video, where I think this is where you're going to really find the most benefit. All right, so I've got the video track here, and so we are in stereo. So pulled the video in, and what I've done is I've already detached the audio, because you'll see the audio here.
Televisions?
Sure.
Yeah. TVs? Speakers?
Sure.
See the audio meters?
How about Bluetooth headsets or earbuds?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you'll...
So we're going to come over here, highlight that audio track, go over here to the stereo, and dual mono. Now, here's a cool thing. See that dialogue 1 and dialogue 2? I've got two separate tracks, but let me show you something.
All right, so you're talking about from technology from, yeah, like consoles, things that you use around the home.
Okay, so those audio meters are even, but if you want to edit the dialogue 1 and 2, right click, expand audio components, and boom, here's my track right there, highlighted, and this is his track. So this actually gives me.
All right, so you're talking about from technology, from yeah, like consoles, things that you use around the home, televisions.
This gives me the ability to EQ my track separately from his track. I have 2 dedicated mono tracks to work with. All right, there it is. Wireless mic setup. Can you do it? Run and gun style, video, audio. You can. It hit the carpet. It's all good. What questions can I help you with? Hit me up in the comment section below. I am always around YouTube. I am as responsive as I possibly can be, trying to help out as many of you as I can. Go do those things that matter. You get out there and you rock some faces. I'm gonna keep creating some value for you here. I appreciate your time and attention on this one. And until the next time, you go do the things, and I'll catch you right back here on the next one.